$10,000.
Yeah.
I could buy those.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes that's okay.
You're on. He is. He is.
As if I didn't know.
Reading the.
Yeah, make sure you don't miss that one. You'll be in trouble. He doesn't watch the meetings, right? All right. All set? Good evening, and welcome to the October 3rd Clifton Park Town Board meeting. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Teresa, if you call the roll.
Councilwoman Flood. Here. Councilwoman Standard.
Here.
Councilman Morelli.
Here.
Councilwoman Wallowitz. Here. Supervisor Barrett.
Here, I'll entertain a motion to approve town board meeting minutes of 9/12 and 9/19.
So moved.
Second. Okay. Good discussion. Okay, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood.
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard.
Yes.
Councilman Morelli.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz.
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett.
Yes. All right, communications and announcements. I just have a few comments on the budget that was submitted Friday. I just want to mention a few highlights. I don't want to go through too many details here, but a few things. One, the proposed budget will remain under the tax cap, which is obviously very important. Tax cap has been with us for quite a few years now. There will continue to be no town general fund tax. And our highway and EMS taxes will stay relatively flat. So good news on the tax front. I've also included the remainder of our ARPA funding between the agenda tonight and in the proposed budget. And now anybody that's been following the process of our allocation of ARPA funds, we've been heavy on investing in infrastructure, which is always extremely important. Tonight I have a resolution that would allocate funding for a new camera. It's very important to our sewer department and the work that they do every day. They've had a camera for a number of years, and at this point, they've had it fixed more than a couple of times, and it's getting to the point where a new one is definitely needed based on the amount of time that they utilize that piece of equipment. So that is on the agenda tonight. Along with that, the budget itself, proposed budget that I submitted Friday, has $130,000 extra dollars for paving for 2023, and $925,000 for various park improvements. That a couple of these initiatives are under consideration and study. Others haven't been started yet, at least not on paper. But we put a lot of thought into how how all these initiatives can get done. They include something we've talked about here. We had a presentation not long ago, and that is improving access to the 41 acres that town purchased along the river, which was some time ago, but definitely time to get some access to that beautiful piece of property. A splash park, which I mentioned probably a couple of months ago now, it's being considered. The new common, new playground on the common. I mentioned a while back that we received a grant from New York State for partial funding of that playground. So the key there is to consider various options, which we will do and present to residents for their input. And we'll further that discussion, but obviously there's going to be some money necessary there, as well as pickleball courts. Many years ago, after I returned from Florida on vacation, I noticed this game that I had never played or seen before. Maybe I saw it and just didn't realize it, but pickleball. Came back and I said, we should probably line some of our tennis courts so people can play pickleball here. It's a huge sport down in Florida, perhaps. That certainly has been the case. And the pickleball courts that we have now, which are lined tennis courts, do get a fair amount of use, some more than others, depending on the location. But we have lined courts in different areas of town, and the sport has grown exponentially in just the last few years. So it's definitely something that I think will continue to grow, and if we can offer that, some dedicated courts to that activity, I think there would be a lot of happy people. So that's the remaining ARPA funds. That's where they would be targeted, the park improvements, the 130 for paving, and then the item that's on the agenda tonight for the sewer department. We also have in the budget $75,000 to go towards the Veterans Project on the Common. We had money in last year's budget, or this year's budget, I should say. And also have another $75,000 in the 2023 budget. We've been selling bricks for a couple of weeks now at this point. And Councilman Morelli, how many? We have over 100, right?
Yeah, I think we're about 110, 115 sold thus far. I know I actually fielded a phone call today from the Gazette, so maybe we'll get a little more publicity around it. I'm hopeful Veterans Day and the holidays would be good times that people may want to invest in a brick for a loved one as part of those holidays.
Yeah, and you can do that online at cliftonpark.org. We also have paper applications here at Town Hall. So either way, you can certainly participate. But response has been very strong so far, and we certainly expect that to continue. $100 for a 6x9 engraved brick. These are nice, big, hefty bricks. I know when people think of bricks, they might think of a standard red brick. These are much bigger, lighter in color, and would be engraved. So we expect that to continue, the selling of the bricks to continue to escalate here in the next few months. We have $100,000 in budget for various improvements at the Common. There was a 3% salary increase that was negotiated with the two CSEA units this year, which will also reflect that same increase for non-union personnel. $36,000 for new software for our Parks and Recreation Department. And I know they've done a lot of research on that, right?
They have like spent hours researching and trying to get the best system.
Yeah, why don't you-
This system. Thank you.
Certainly.
But for the citizens that use it, for signing up for the programs, but also for the staff. So, he's spent a great deal of time researching every possible vendor, and found the best possibility for the town. And I think, this will also work with the senior center,
Mhm.
which will be easier for the seniors to access, trips and sign up for programs.
Great. We have 200,000 in there for stormwater, slip lining of pipes. We have 37,000 in the proposed budget for household hazardous waste collection. So look out for that in September. We continue to collect paints and stains every Thursday at the transfer station, and we'll continue to do that throughout the year. This is Hazardous Household Waste Day is an opportunity to get rid of all kinds of stuff that you don't know what to do with, but you know you shouldn't put it anywhere. You shouldn't put it in the garbage. You shouldn't put it in the ground. So just save it, and we'll see you in September. And health insurance will be up approximately 6% year over year. So those are some of the highlights of the proposed budget I submitted to the town clerk on Friday. And I think overall it's a very sound budget that is crafted carefully to ensure that our low tax status here in Clifton Park remains in place, but also ensures that infrastructure, parks, and other quality of life issues are properly enhanced or planned for the future. Okay, so that's where we are there. Any other communications or announcements?
I just have one quick one.
Yes.
This Friday at the Stork Rooms Tavern, they're doing a Paranormal Society is coming in. It's the Tri-City New York Paranormal Society at 7 p.m. And they are going to do an evening of paranormal exploration. So if you want to be scared, come to the tavern Friday at 7. They share stories and evidence of possible paranormal activity. And I can say from being in there many nights, it's haunted. So that should be interesting.
Yeah, save that for Halloween time, right? Make it a little more interesting. All right, we do have several resolutions.
Just make a quick comment on the budget.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. So this is entering my third, I guess, budget process. As you know, we're going to meet with, and I think several of us as board members will meet with the individual departments this week, try to get, their input that's already been solicited. As a board, I mean, a credit to this board, I think since I've been a part of it, which has only been a few years, I know, even well before me, a lot of emphasis on things like infrastructure, sewer, stormwater, buildings and grounds, highway projects, trails, even IT upgrades. So I think this board has done a great job with those this year. I'm especially pleased to see that we're going to hopefully put some emphasis on health and wellness and recreation. I think there's a lot of areas, I don't want to say neglected, but things we can maybe improve on or add to our town, the quality of life for our young people, our not so young people. But I think it's definitely important. It's something that it's appropriate for us to put emphasis on for the budget process this year.
Yeah, we do have a wide-ranging amount of activities for people of all ages in town. There's no doubt about that. We have the 3 pools, which we continue to operate each year. We're well into the liner replacement project up at Country Knolls. It's a few $100,000 just for that. We replaced the liner at Locust Lane in recent years. Barney Road will have to be done in the next few years. So, so there's no doubt that what we have, we want to ensure is maintained adequately to serve as many people as possible. But anytime we can add recreational opportunities. It's certainly important. If the last couple of years has taught us anything, it's that outdoor recreation, having plenty of things for people to do, is extremely important for many reasons. So let's hope we don't ever see a pandemic again. But that aside, just the importance of outdoor recreation, I think I think people appreciate it more than ever and are seeking more opportunities than they ever have. And that's a good thing. It's something we want to make sure we can fulfill. All right, we do have a number of resolutions for consideration this evening. Teresa, if you could read through them, please.
Sure. A resolution approving appointments to the Industrial Development Agency, whereas with the resignation of Jean Lesurgeon as counsel to the IDA, a vacancy exists for counsel to the Industrial Development Agency. And whereas Supervisor Barrett recommends Jonathan Schott, 611 Bruno Road, Clifton Park, to fill the position. And whereas as of September 30th, 2022, Jonathan Schott has resigned as a member of the chair of the IDA, and vacancies now exist for both the chairman and a member. And whereas the supervisor also recommends that Derek Brown, member since 2017 and current vice president, be appointed as chairman of the IDA for the remainder of the term to expire on December 31st, 2022. And whereas Supervisor Barrett also recommends that Dennis Grobston, with his extensive experience in economic development and marketing in the capital region, be appointed to fill the remainder of the 3-year term vacated by Mr. Scott, term to expire December 31st, 2023. And whereas each of these appointments will confer a benefit to the town of Clifton Park, now therefore be it resolved that Jonathan Schott is hereby appointed to the Industrial Development Agency as counsel, and be it further resolved that Dennis Grobson is hereby appointed to fill the unexpired term of Jonathan Schott, term to expire December 31st, 2023, and be it further resolved that Derek Brown is hereby appointed chairman of the Industrial Development Agency. A resolution authorizing the promotion of John D. Simone to the position of Chief Bureau of Fire Prevention, whereas due to the promotion of Wade Schoenborn, a vacancy exists for the position of Chief Bureau of Fire Prevention, and whereas the chief's position represents a critical function in the town's building and development department and is responsible for the review of plans and specifications for new construction and reconstruction projects, as well as inspection of all existing commercial structures within the town for fire code compliance, in addition to other duties and responsibilities. And whereas Wade Schoenborn, Director of Building and Development, has recommended the promotion of John D. Simone to the position. And whereas John D. Simone has worked for the town for over 17 years and has the education, training, and experience necessary to perform the duties and responsibilities of the position. Now therefore be it resolved that John D. Simone is hereby promoted to Chief Bureau of Fire Prevention at grade 10, step 3, year 1 at $42.99 an hour, effective immediately. And be it further resolved that the comptroller is authorized to transfer general fund built into building department, building and development S. Myers to general fund building and development employee to cover the increase for the remainder of the year. And be it further resolved that John D. Simone is hereby authorized to approve purchases per the procurement policy. A resolution changing the position of Victoria Hanna in the Animal Control Office to a full-time position. Whereas by resolution number 8 of 2018, the town board appointed Victoria Hanna to permanent status as an animal control officer for the town of Clifton Park per the civil service certification as of December 29, 2017. And whereas Victoria Hanna has been employed part-time by the town since 2016, and whereas Director of Animal Control Terry Cook advises that the duties and responsibilities of the office have continued to expand and that a need exists for a second full-time position within the Animal Control Office. Now therefore be it resolved that Victoria Hanna is hereby appointed as a full-time Animal Control Officer for the town of Clifton Park, grade 3, step 3, year 1, effective immediately. And be it further resolved that the comptroller is authorized to transfer $12,400 from unassigned fund balance to the general fund animal control employee. A resolution authorizing the purchase of a new sewer inspection camera for the sewer department from Joe Johnson Equipment pursuant to a Sourcewell contract, whereas collection system manager Michael O'Brien has requested authorization to purchase a new sewer inspection camera to replace outdated equipment that is no longer available to be repaired from Joe Johnson Equipment pursuant to a competitive procurement process through the Sourcewell Service Cooperative for use by the sewer department. And whereas pursuant to General Municipal Law 103-16, municipalities are authorized to purchase materials, equipment, and supplies through public bid contracts of another state or political subdivision thereof. And whereas Sourcewell is a service cooperative created under Minnesota Statute 123A .21 and provides cooperative purchasing contracts to public entities under Minnesota Statute 471.59 to participating agencies and governments. And whereas American Rescue Plan Act funds are available to pay for such sanitary sewer infrastructure expenditures. And whereas Mr. O'Brien advises that the sewer inspection camera available through Sourcewell contract number 120721 EVS issued following a request proposal using best criteria will best meet the needs of the department. Now therefore be it resolved that the sewer department is authorized to purchase the HD Rover X system referenced above in an amount not to exceed $101,488.18. To be further resolved, the comptroller is authorized to transfer $101,488.18 from ARPA funds received to the Brooklyn Park Sewer District Number 1 equipment. A resolution ratifying memorandum of agreement with the Civil Service Employees Association Incorporated, AFSC Local 1000, AFL-CIO, representing Town of Clifton Park General Unit of Saratoga County Local 846. Whereas the supervisor and Councilman Morelli have met with representatives of the Civil Service Association Incorporated and the Town General Unit in contract negotiations over several months, beginning in late 2021 and continuing through the summer. And whereas an agreement has been reached in principle on an extension of the existing collection bargaining agreement covering the period from January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2024, with salary increases of 3.5% for 2022, retroactive to January 1st, 2022, and subsequent cost of living increases of 3% each year for 2023 and 2024. And whereas the agreement has memorialized in the attached memorandum of agreement, and Supervisor Barrett, as well as representatives of the CSEA, AFSCME, Local 1000, AFL-CIO for the Clifton Park General Unit have signed the agreements. And whereas on September 21st, 2022, the membership within the General Unit of the Collective Bargaining Group met and voted to approve and ratify the agreement. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board hereby approves and ratifies the attached memorandum of agreement with the Civil Service Employees Association Incorporated Unit representing Town of Clifton Park General Unit, copy of which is annexed hereto as Exhibit A. All provisions to be incorporated into a new contract as appropriate. And be it further resolved that the provisions in the previous contract not modified by this memorandum of agreement to remain. And be it further resolved that the comptroller is authorized to issue salary adjustments for non-union employees and department heads retroactive to January 1st, 2022, consistent with the CSEA agreement. A resolution issuing permits to serve alcoholic beverages per the attached special alcohol use permits. Whereas the following applicants have submitted special alcohol use permit requests to the Clifton Park Senior Community Center to be allowed to serve alcohol in the form of beer and wine for gatherings on the following dates with locations as listed on the applications. Larry Seisdeck, resident of the Clifton Park Poking Brook Morris Dancers, on October 15th, 2022 from 5 to 9 p.m. Casey Weedman, resident of Clifton Park, on November 5th, 2022 from 5 to 10 p.m. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board hereby authorizes the special alcohol use permit requests submitted by Larry Seisdeck on behalf of the Poking Brook Morris Dancers and Casey Weedman for gatherings as indicated. A resolution authorizing a professional services agreement for wetlands delineation services for the Maple Hill Farm Conservation Easement Project appraisal. Whereas by resolution number 150 of 2019, the Town Board authorized a master grant contract for a farmland implementation protection grant for the acquisition of an interest in the Maple Hill Farm And whereas by resolution number 264 of 2019, Environmental Design Partnership was authorized to perform a preliminary survey of the property. And whereas by resolution number 187 of 2022, the town board authorized the retention of CNY Pomeroy Appraisers Incorporated, Manlius, New York, to perform an appraisal of the Maple Hill Farm Conservation Easement application pursuant to a request for proposals for professional appraisal services. And whereas Open Space Coordinator Jennifer Vigiani advises that wetlands delineations will provide further objective information for the appraiser to utilize in analysis of the developable acreage on the property for valuation purposes. And whereas sufficient funds remain in the Open Space Incentive Reserve account to offset the cost of the wetlands delineation services necessary for the work. Now therefore be it resolved that the Planning Department is authorized to engage environmental design partners for wetlands delineation services at a cost not to exceed $2,500 to be paid from General Fund Open Space Committee Engineering, and be it further resolved that the comptroller is authorized to transfer $2,500 from Reserve Open Space Incentive for the wetlands delineations. A resolution transferring the maintenance and operation costs of the Country Knolls Pool facility, hereinafter Country Knolls Pool, from the Long Hill 1 Park District to the general fund. Whereas by resolution number 10 of 1998, the town board, sitting as commissioners of the Long Hill 1 Park District, authorized the supervisor to sign a purchase and sale contract for the acquisition of the swimming pool constructed by Country Club Acres, the developer of the Country Knolls subdivision, and operated at that time in conjunction with the Country Knolls Civic Association as an amenity to residents residing within the neighborhood in the amount of $25,000. And whereas the Country Knolls Pool has now expanded its membership base to serve residents throughout the town on an annual membership fee basis in the same manner as the town-operated swimming pools at Locust Lane and Barney Road. And all three facilities are popular with residents and families throughout the town during summer months. And whereas while Country Knolls Pool and related real estate is currently deeded to the town of Clifton Park, the maintenance and operational expenses for the pool have been paid through membership fees collected and allocated to the Long Hill 1 Park District. And whereas by resolution number 153 of 2022, the town board authorized a contract with Patterson Stevens Incorporated to replace the pool liners for an amount up to $363,000 after competitive bidding. And whereas the Long Hill 1 Park District has requested that the town assume responsibilities for the maintenance and operation of the pool in order to more equitably share the cost of the maintenance and repair of the pool among all users throughout the town, and all membership fee revenue now be available to the town to offset the cost of the maintenance, operation, and repair. And whereas the town seeks to integrate the membership fee base of all three pools in order to benefit from the economy of scale on, as well as to provide an enhanced ability for residents and families to enjoy the benefits of all three pools interchangeably. Now therefore be it resolved that the operating responsibility of the Country Knolls Pool is transferred from the Long Hill 1 Park District to the town of Clifton Park for further administration, operation, and maintenance. And be it further resolved that the town board recognizes that the Country Knolls Pool is located in a neighborhood in close proximity to residential housing, and will endeavor to continue to operate the Country Knolls Pool on an annual basis, and will continue to consult with Park District and neighborhood representatives prior to implementing any significant changes in membership and or operating procedures so as to minimize adverse impact to the surrounding neighborhoods. A resolution proclaiming October 20, 2022 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the town of Clifton Park. Whereas October is annually recognized as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and whereas although progress has been made toward preventing and ending domestic violence and providing support to survivors and their families, important work remains to be done. And whereas there is a need to provide education, awareness, and understanding of domestic violence and its causes, and whereas there is a need to focus on the individualized needs of domestic violence survivors, and whereas domestic violence affects people of all genders, sexual orientations, ages, racial, ethnic, cultural, social, religious, and economic groups across the United States, and whereas physical violence is often accompanied by emotionally abusive and controlling behavior as part of a larger systematic pattern of control, And whereas domestic violence can result in physical injury, psychological trauma, and even death. And whereas domestic violence has a significant economic impact on women throughout the country, where an estimated 8 million days of paid work is lost because of the domestic violence. And whereas women are 7 to 14 times more likely to report domestic violence than men, who often underreport due to fears of gender stereotypes, when reports indicate that 1 in 4 men are victims in their lifetime. And whereas domestic violence costs $8.3 billion in expenses annually, a combination of higher medical costs and lost productivity. And whereas domestic violence can experience long consequences, including difficulty at school, substance abuse, behavioral problems in adolescence, and serious adult health problems. And whereas the prevalence of domestic violence is such that everyone knows someone impacted by domestic violence, and whereas the town board recognizes the vital role that all residents of the town of Clifton Park can play in preventing and one day ending domestic violence. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Clifton Park recognizes October 2022 and each following October as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the town of Clifton Park.
Very good. Are there any questions on the resolutions? Okay, so none. Teresa, if you would read the headings and we'll consider each resolution individually.
Resolution number 242 of 2022, a resolution approving appointments to the Industrial Development Agency.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so at first I want to thank Jean Masurgian. Known Jean a long time, and she has been the counsel for the IDA for many, many years. So I do want to thank her for all of her efforts to support the town through the years. But her recent resignation did spur some proposed changes to the IDA leadership. As you heard in the, and you can read in the resolution, proposing that Derek Brown, who's currently the vice chair, be the chair of the IDA. Derek has been a member of the IDA for since 2017. Jonathan Schaaf, who's currently the chairman, would be counsel to the IDA, and Dennis Brobston, who we just saw here a few weeks ago, who announced his retirement from SEDC, would be appointed as a member to the IDA. Dennis's longtime involvement in economic development and associated matters would be invaluable as a member of the Clifton Park IDA. So we would appreciate and thank Dennis for his willingness to volunteer on behalf of the town. So those are the proposed appointments and changes. And again, just want to thank everybody for working on behalf of the town. Discussion. Okay, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 243 of 2022, a resolution authorizing the promotion of John DeSimone to the position of Chief Bureau of Fire Prevention.
So moved.
Where'd the baby go? She's gonna miss the big moment.
I know.
Well, more importantly, where'd your wife go?
I was
She's
gonna
gonna miss the moment.
talk about my duty, but I think her duty.
Good answer.
So recently, Wade was here tonight. You know, Wade has been promoted to direct the building department following the passing of Steve Mimes. And Wade has stepped into that position and done a tremendous job. So we appreciate his efforts. That opened Wade's former position, which is the chief of the Bureau of Fire Prevention. John DeSimone applied for the job. John is a current member of our building department staff and has been an employee of the town for a long time now, in capacities and worked in different departments. And he has a long and positive work history with the town. So that is the recommendation that John DeSimone would assume the duties that Wade held prior to his promotion. Wade, is there anything that you'd like to say?
As you all know, we've had quite the turnover in the past few years in my department. I'd say 80% of my staff is new. Since John has been in my department, he's taken the initiative to not only learn the code, but also enforce and administer the code not only accurately, but fairly across the board. On top of that, he's also taken the initiative to help train the younger staff and the ones that haven't been there so long. And he's done a fantastic job, and that's why I recommend him.
Very good. And we also have Max, who's also one of John's fellow employees at the building department, and you've been around for a couple of years now, Max, right?
Soon to be a couple.
Yeah. So it's a testament to Steve and Wade and the other senior members of the department, because there has been quite a bit of training that's been necessary as turnover has occurred in the department. And we thank the newer employees for really digging into that training and working hard at it. And the fact that you've been able to be very involved in inspections, fire or otherwise, is a tremendous help to the department, and obviously the senior members who have a lot of responsibilities on a daily basis. Councilwoman Wallowit, you were also part of the interviews. Is there anything?
It was an interview process, yes. I think we did emphasize the length of time that John has been with the town in different capacities. That in each of those roles, he worked to become a leader in each of those roles. No slacking there, John. It is very impressive that he takes it that seriously, and he tries to work to improve himself in everything that we've handed to him, in every job that he's had here. John.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, further discussion. All right, John, well, she's not back yet. We're gonna have to go.
I'm
She
good.
can watch it.
I'm good. I just want to thank all the town board members and Wade, and especially Steve.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I know Steve played a big part in your training and development, so he did with everybody in the department. Okay.
Councilwoman Flood,
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard,
Yes.
Councilman Morelli,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowit,
Yes,
Supervisor Barron.
Yes.
Resolution number 244 of 2022, a resolution changing the position of Victoria Hanna in the Animal Control Office to a full-time position.
so moved. Second.
Okay, Ms. Wallowit, you put this forward, so.
Victoria is here this evening. Has worked in the Animal Control Office for a great 7 years. And has proven her record of reliability and an vast knowledge of the rules and the laws. She does not hesitate to enforce. Very impressive. The addition of adding 2 towns and mechanical for on-call in this department has really caused some strain there. And bringing Victoria on a full-time position will help out with that scheduling, with all the responsibilities that they have taken on with adding those. And will most importantly keep the reputation of the town of Clifton Park Animal Control as the best in the county.
And she is an excellent trial witness.
Oh, okay. Well, we've had one full-time person in animal control for the longest time, and Victoria's been a tremendous asset to the department on a part-time basis. But as things have evolved, society has changed. Everybody is searching for people to work at their businesses and organizations. I don't think there's any secret about that. And we continue to do the same. And when it comes to part-time animal control positions, which is a position we've had, like I said, for a long time, we usually have a few part-timers to spread out the work and the schedule to make sure everybody has some time off. And it's been extremely difficult trying to find part-time animal control officers that, for whatever reason, so sometimes it's out of the control of the person, but they just don't stay as long as we would like. And finding new prospects, we're faced with a decision. We don't create a lot of full-time jobs on a regular basis, but in this particular instance, when you have a very important department and a department head that works very hard, probably too hard in recent months, with regard to the amount of time that she's spending on the job, I think it's important that we do something to provide that additional assistance to the department overall. And obviously, as Councilwoman Wallowitz said, Victoria is a proven commodity, having worked with us for several years now. So, is there anything you'd like to say, Terry? Or, I know you like to talk at these meetings. So.
No, I appreciate bringing her on, and everybody that's left has moved on to bigger things. We had Anna Material that went on to be a Schenectady cop, and Dave Brzezinski went on to work full-time for Milton. Max went on to, whatever that's.
Oh, that's right, Max was there for a few years, yeah.
That's it, building development. So, no, I appreciate her coming on, because I can sure use the help.
Well, it says, I think it says a lot when you start to list out the people that have been part-time and the jobs that they moved on to. They might have been part-time here, but they moved on to full-time jobs. In Max's case, he stayed right here at home. Others have gone on to police departments or full-time animal control in other municipalities. So I think that says a lot for the training and guidance that they receive here at the town as well. So you don't have to say anything else. You're welcome. All right, further discussion. Okay, Teresa.
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz? Yes. Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 245 of 2022, a resolution authorizing the purchase of a new sewer inspection camera for the sewer department from Joe Johnson Equipment pursuant to a Sourcewell contract.
All right, Mr. O'Brien, how you doing?
Pretty good.
So, just for people out there that might not know what this piece of equipment is, if you could just tell us what it is and how often you use it. I know you use it a ton. So.
Sure, I actually brought it to the back of my truck. I decided it was a bad idea to bring it in.
No,
At the last
we don't
minute.
need a,
Demonstration.
we don't need a demonstration.
Yeah, so a sewer camera system for the stormwater and wastewater world is pretty much our second most important tool we have. Our jetter back truck is our number one tool. But it's actually a robot, a remotely driven robot that we send down pipes of all different sizes, and we can do in-place inspections. We record this information. It's fed to engineers who create, plans for us for upgrades and repairs and that kind of thing. Sometimes it helps us identify spots that we have to fix right away, which, can cost money, but oftentimes we go out there and figure out, what the problem is. And actually we've, years ago invested in some technology that in cooperation with the camera system, we're able to fix pipes internally without digging. And that's a huge money. I mean, it costs us like $700 to do it. And when we have to call a contractor in, it's, $7,000 to $8,000. So the camera is versatile. I mentioned stormwater. Over the years of our original camera system, we bought a larger rover that allowed us to go into bigger pipes. This camera system is similar, same manufacturer with integrated features that will allow this camera to serve both roles without having to switch out tractors and that kind of thing. The technology's changed, but we'll be able to continue to assist the highway department. We've helped buildings and grounds here and there. And then obviously ourselves inspecting the former Crescent Waste.
Hmm.
We're almost done with that. Long story short is this original camera was purchased in 2010. Several years after that, I'd say probably 5, they phased out that model line, but continued to support it up until maybe 2018. And ever since then, Joe Johnson has been fixing our equipment as it breaks. Now you have to understand, first of all, the market is small, so equipment is expensive. You know, they're creating these engineering marvels, these little machines, but it's a small market, so the prices are up there. But these machines operate in a hostile environment every day. I mean, without fail. And over time, things wear out, they start to give up. And Joe Johnson's been really good about helping us out, but the spare parts bin is wearing out. You know, they're running out of parts. The camera hasn't worked for us in a month because we have no more picture. So I asked for it in the budget for next year. And you know, I appreciate maybe have this on the agenda tonight. But it's a tool that saves tons of money. Tons. I mean, I can't even tell you how much. I don't even know what a foot inspection per foot would be today. It's got to be $5 or $6 a foot. I mean, it used to be $3, and we do it in house. Maybe 2 summers, it's paid for itself. So we do hundreds of miles. That camera that is dying and dead is you know, I don't think it has 1,000 miles on it, but it has many, many hundreds. And you know, this next camera I expect to do the same. So it's modern. It's got some HD features, more modern connections. Everything's smaller. We don't need a rack system in the truck anymore. Everything's on like a tablet. It's amazing. Everything's easy to clean, but it's the same, basically the same principle. So.
Yeah, I remember years ago when we were taking over the sewer systems and hiring somebody to do that, it was expensive, which is why we ended up buying our own cameras. So,
Yes, sir.
no, this is very important and timely. I think it's something we should move forward with right away. So that's why it's on the agenda. Any further discussion, questions from Mike? Okay, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Malowitz?
Yes.
And Supervisor Barrett.
Yes.
Resolution number 246 of 2022, a resolution ratifying a memorandum of agreement with the Civil Service Employees Association Incorporated, AFSCME Local 1000, AFL-CIO, representing Town of Clifton Park General Unit of Saratoga County Local 846.
Okay. This is a second proposed agreement that was negotiated and approved this year. Earlier this year, the agreement with the Highway CSEA unit was consummated. So the annual increases are the same for both contracts, and overall, I believe, and Councilman Morelli, who was part of those negotiations, as well as the negotiating team for the town hall unit, I believe, I think this was a very fair agreement from both sides, and will serve the town well, at least for the next couple of years. So it's time to talk again. Anything you want to add, Councilman Morelli?
Yeah, I would like to add a few things. First of all, I agree. I think it's a fair agreement. I think, you know, we started this, I think, in December of last year at several meetings. I would compliment, you know, everyone who was involved, especially John and Tyler. You guys were absolute fierce advocates for the employees here. I have been involved in other union negotiations in previous roles outside of the town of Clifton Park, and you know, you guys were absolutely advocated. It wasn't easy. We had several meetings. You know, we were far apart at the beginning. It slowly came closer together. But I think for everyone involved, there was listening, there was understanding, there was compromise. Everyone, both sides didn't get everything that was originally asked for. But I think at the end of the day, it is a fair agreement for the employees, and I'm proud to vote for it tonight.
Okay. Very good. Okay, further discussion. Okay, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Malowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett.
Yes.
Resolution number 247 of 2022, a resolution issuing permits to serve alcoholic beverages per the attached special alcohol use permits. So moved.
Second.
All right, so we've got Larry Sizdak with the Poking Brook Morris Dancers. I gotta ask him about that. I asked Larry, but that sounds pretty good. And Casey Whiteman. Any discussion? Okay, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood.
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard. Yes. Councilman Morelli.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz.
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett.
Yes.
Resolution number 248 of 2022, a resolution authorizing a professional services agreement for wetlands delineation services for the Maple Hill Farm Conservation Easement Project appraisal. So moved.
Second.
All right, as we continue with this initiative to permanently preserve this farm perpetuity, there's been many steps along the way, and this is a step to establish wetland delineations in a professional manner so we can bring this process to the next step. Discussion. Okay, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood.
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard.
Yes.
Councilman Morelli.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz.
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett.
Yes.
Resolution number 249 of 2022, covering the maintenance and operation costs of the Burning Bush Country Knolls Pool facility here and after Country Knolls Pool from the Long Hill Fun Park District to the general fund.
Second.
Yeah, so Glen Valley, on behalf of the Park District, approached me initially with the idea that the town would assume all elements of operation for the Country Knolls Pool. And, you know, I just want to thank Glenn for his many, many years of work, not only with the pools, but with the Park District in general. His involvement with the pools go back to the 80s when the pools were closed for, at that time, owned by Mr. Van Patten, closed for a couple of years, and or at least 1 year. There was an interruption in their operations, and Glen Valley and some other very interested residents of Country Knolls came together, had a plan, met with Mr. Van Patten, convinced him that if he opened the pools, they would be very involved and support the effort and work hard to make the pools a success. So his involvement goes back decades, and I do want to thank Glenn for everything he's done for the town and for the pools. You know, with the situation being what it is, fiscally in today's day and age, with the operations of the pools, it's becoming more and more difficult for the Park District to continue in its current role. Therefore, the town would assume, as I said, assume all elements of operations for the pool. And it's a little bit of a distinction. You know, the town board is ultimately the commissioners of each park district, and but the park districts are a separate entity. And this was the structure that was initially in place when this pool was purchased by the town on behalf of the Long Hill 1 Park District, and that's the way the language read. I know Glenn, on behalf of the Park District, they do have some concerns as far as the future operations of the pool, that they wanted to be sure was included in the wording, and those two concerns relate to any physical changes that might be made to the pools, as well as any changes in operations. You know, memberships versus daily rates, that daily passes, that type of operational change they would be concerned about. And it's just due to the nature of our pools, how they're situated directly within developments, very close to homes. And that's what has generated those concerns for the future. If the Park District didn't play a central role in that decision-making, but, you know, as I told Glenn, whether it's this town board or future town board, certainly, I'm sure, the opinions, thoughts, and wishes of the people of Country Knolls will always be very seriously considered before any changes were made, such the like that he has expressed concern about. So, Town Attorney Tom McCarthy's been working on this with Glenn as far as the mechanics of how this would proceed, and maybe you can fill in any blanks that I may have left.
Yeah, working with Glenn and with Mark. Really, the only piece of paper in the town's records that demonstrates or references the ownership being in the Park District is the town board resolution back in 1998, where that board, under Supervisor Leroy, purchased the pool, sitting as commissioners. It was Park District funds. The $25,000 used to acquire this pool was Park District funds, but really almost all of the other dollars that supported the maintenance and operation of the pool since that time were almost all revenue from memberships. There was a minuscule amount of times when that revenue source was in the red and caused the Park District to use any funds from assessments. Furthermore, the other point is that, you know, there was no formal proceedings done at the time to expand the Park District or expand the special district to include it. So it was a bit of an accounting mechanism, and it allowed for the Park District to, you know, exercise some control over the day-to-day operations, and it was a good partnership while it lasted. But this pool liner that was that became necessary in the fall, you know, forced a decision. I think this resolution is all that is necessary to transfer the operation and maintenance responsibility from the district to the town, because the resolution number 10 back in 1998 is the only document that says otherwise. All the deeds to the property, the purchase contract, and everything else is in the name of the town. The revenue sources to offset the maintenance and operations of the pool will stay the same. It will still be the membership fees. They'll have the support of other than the pool line, they'll have the support of the general fund and the flexibility for Mark to use, but it shouldn't cause any impact on the Park District. It'll relieve them of responsibility for, say, bonding for that liner, which, as the resolution lays out, you know, it's not just that those residents in that Park District that benefit from the pools. It's the town-wide membership base that benefits from the pool. So I think this is proper. I don't think anything more is necessary. I think the town is getting a good deal to get a great pool, and the pool district, the Park District doesn't have to have an out of proportion expense for the pool liner.
Well, the finances of operating the pools have certainly changed drastically in recent years. There's no doubt that operating the pool is much more expensive now than it was just a few years ago. And that's separate from any of these maintenance items like the pool liner replacement. Just on an operational basis, day to day, it's much more expensive now than it was. So I think that also contributed to the move in this direction from the Park District. So ultimately, like I said, we are the commissioners of the Park District. We're obviously the town board of the town. We're the decision makers on either side of the equation. And but again, just want to thank Glenn and everybody that was involved with getting those pools back up and running many years ago, and ultimately very involved in ensuring that the town purchased the pools, because otherwise they probably would have been closed permanently. All right, any further discussion?
So this would, Tom, this would make this pool consistent with the other two, correct?
It does,
In the setup.
it does.
And generally, this pool has just as many, I think most years, more members than the other two pools combined, which makes sense. The two pools are in very close proximity to one another. This pool, Country Knolls Pool at Exit 10, is by itself without a competing pool nearby. And so it's so from that standpoint, I think it will benefit all the pools and the town to have them all together. It's also been a way of processing and assessing who is a guest at Country Knolls when compared to the other pools. That will be all assimilated into one rule regarding guests that are brought to the pool. So there will no longer be this difference between Barney and Locust versus Country Knolls, which will make it more seamless and easier to understand for people that are utilizing the pools. Okay. Right, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standart?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 250 of 2022, a resolution proclaiming October 2022 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the town of Clifton Park. So moved. Second.
Okay, very good. Discussion.
Yes, I just wanted to mention that every 9 seconds, a woman suffers an assault from an intimate partner. Also, 1 in 4 men suffer some form of domestic violence from an intimate partner as well. Domestic violence has horrific and long-lasting repercussions. Some of them, most of them, and a lot of them are not just physical and or sexual. A lot of these occurrences are psychological and emotional and affect a lot of people. And having this awareness, recognizing this month is really very important for our residents if they need to seek help. There is 24/7 access. They're always on the National Domestic Violence Hotline is always available, whether it's chatting online, making a phone call, or even texting, whatever is safest for the person in need. The website is thehotline.org, and right through that website you can chat with someone, or you can get a number to text someone. You can also get the phone number, which is 1-800-799-SAFE, 1-800-799-SAFE. So yeah, I think it's really important and a good idea that we continue to recognize October as National Domestic Violence Month. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of causes for stress between couples or families, and I think through the pandemic, a lot of the stresses that people feel on a daily basis have multiplied. Now with things changing so rapidly in our economy, world politics, conflicts around the world, I think people feel that much more uneasy. I'll be bringing forward, both at the county level and here at the town, some additional measures to provide as much assistance to people as possible who are having difficulty and need additional help. So we'll have more information on that soon, but there's some very important initiatives that we'll be bringing forward along that front very soon. All right, and as soon as they're ready, I'll certainly let everybody know.
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ballwood?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes, any other business to come before the board this evening? Okay, we'll go to public privilege. John or Darlene? Darlene, come on up, please. How about you, John? You game tonight?
I'm good.
Okay. How you doing, Darlene?
And how are you?
Good.
Darlene McGraw. I live at 4 North Point in the town of Half Moon. I wanted to thank you for bringing up the fact that this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Myself, I'm not a victim, but I'm a survivor of domestic violence. It's related directly because of my disability, and it's a family member, not a boyfriend. And those are just similar reasons why people might know that domestic violence is not necessarily between a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, etc. But I just wanted to make sure people know that domestic violence is not always because of girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, etc. October is also Disability Rights Employment Awareness Month, and I am going to a symposium tomorrow to learn how to better help those with disabilities. And I'm asking the town, I want to ask the town to please come with a committee or a group so that those of us with disabilities can better help the board with accessibility within the town. And I would also like to find out if the town has worked with the Capital District Transportation Committee in regards to the grant that they had with coming up with a ADA transition plan, because the CDTC had a grant that was able to be given to different municipalities so they could come up with ADA transition plans, and that was free with very minimal barriers with the grant, whereas most grants have lots of rules too. This one did not have very many rules like other grants do. It would also put less stress on Tom and others within the town.
Well, we don't want to take any stress.
Well, he can, we can give him other stress. I'm
All right.
sure I can figure out other stuff if I need to give him more stress. But, this could give him a little less stress. And also to the town, and also make you guys pay a little less money. Well, you can save money, I don't know about you, but I'm all in for that, so.
Well, we did apply and I did send a letter. So
Okay, well, I appreciate that,
there
because
is some cost
some
involved.
places weren't too keen in doing that, so I appreciate you guys for doing that.
No, we did submit that. I sent a letter. And
Awesome. And thanks for the response.
hopefully we'll be in good shape.
Thank you for letting the community know, and I appreciate that.
Well, thank you for asking. I appreciate that. And if you have a minute after the meeting, I have something else for you.
Sure.
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ballwood?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. So what's next?
Oh,